Today we're talking about Levi's Selvedge Denim and one of the biggest artifacts in the archives. I'm Tracey Panek, historian at Levi Strauss Company and director of our archives. The first 501 jeans, or waist overalls as we originally called them, were made from Amoskeag denim, 9 ounces of that 100% cotton denim, and we often refer to that denim as XX, or extra strong or top of the line. It was sourced from the Amoskeag Manufacturing Company in Manchester, New Hampshire in 1873. At one time, they were considered the largest textile manufacturer in the world, producing over 5 miles of fabric a day.
A lot of the production for the denim actually started in the 1850s. Particularly, it was manufactured in this building, which is mill number 3. They did everything in the mill yard. They could produce and make anything they needed. It was very self-efficient. All they needed was raw materials. It was actually kind of the beginning stages of where they were figuring out a lot of how to make the denim. They really kind of mastered it by the time that Levi Strauss started really buying the material from Amoskeag Manufacturing Company. They had already been doing it for almost 20 years at that point, figuring out how to have their machines best process and get the best material to make it really durable and last a long time.
In the Mill Yard Museum, you can see some of the original artifacts, like the swatch book of fabric that Amoskeag used to produce, including that all-important denim that was used to create Levi's first 501s. They made the denim on shuttle looms, the type of looms that were powered by water. And in the case of Amoskeag, it was the Merrimack River that powered those looms. Around 1915, Levi Strauss Company moved to source their denim to Cone Mills in Greensboro, North Carolina. Cone Mills was also using shuttle looms with that 28 to 29 inch wide denim. 501 waist overalls were sewn from finished selvage denim, just like the kind that you see here. Look at the instructions here, cut on selvage. So this part of the leg pattern would be put right next to that white edge of the selvage. With the width of that denim being 28 to 29 inches, it was perfect to create one leg of the 501 and really be very efficient in doing that. The shuttle is what carries the weft thread on the bobbins, or the quills as they're called, and they're the pieces that go back and forth underneath the indigo, the blue colored warp threads. That's what's creating that white selvage thin strip. In 1927, Cone Mills created a special signature denim just for Levi Strauss. It was called Red Line Selvage, and it was simply a little bit of red thread placed in the white selvage so that you would get a little red line running along the selvage. In 1983, Cone Mills decided to switch to a modern loom that was wider than the vintage shuttle loom. It created efficiencies because you could make twice as much denim, but you lost that signature design detail of being able to cuff your hems and see the selvage. When I visited Cone Mills back in 2015, it was really remarkable. There is a huge room with all of these vintage shuttle looms. The mills closed in 2017 at White Oak, but luckily there is still a place where you can go and see shuttle looms in operation. Like Manchester, Lowell, Massachusetts is one of the early industrial cities in America. And I was lucky to have Kathy and Rick Randall show me around the weaving room at Boot Cotton Mill, where there are 90 vintage shuttle looms, and they're each operated by leather belts that are connected to rods going across the ceiling, powered by that river water on the Merrimack. Aside from the looms that are still working at Boot Cotton Mill, there may be fewer than 100 original shuttle looms in the United States. Cone Mills donated their vintage shuttle loom in 1983, and it's been at Levi Strauss Company now for about 40 years. Today, it sits in the lobby of our headquarters in San Francisco. We knew we needed to take special care with this loom, and that's why we called in an expert. We brought in Evan Morrison from Greensboro, North Carolina. Evan spent a week with us. He removed all the oil and the dust. He helped re-thread the loom. And more important, it's in a condition for us to be able to educate our employees about how vintage selvage denim was originally made.
The loom is now cleaned and in display condition, and the goal ultimately will be to put it in a condition that it can fully operate manually and serve as an educational tool.
There is a lot of interest in selvage denim, and it's one of the reasons that understanding how it was produced is so important to us at Levi's. Thanks for joining me in the Levi's archives. Don't forget, if you've got a pair of 501s that are vintage, turn up the cuff and show off your selvage.